what I done, looking at the side view on this engine, and looking at the schematic, it's 1923-6-1 of that year, manual instructions copy that would have come with the engine. So using that as a guideline as to the shape of the fuel lines, and I did take the liberty of using copper. Well, something for that blank page is well, some items of note, and one of those being, I've not put the magneto on there yet, but the timing marks being closer together on a Bosch equipped M. Also noting that on the flywheel, if you will note, this flywheel boss it's this much longer than the other M's. This is bespoke. That flywheel is bespoke to a Bosch engine. We got that governor all put together, everything, all the parts. Set that fork back there as in relationship to the springs. So, and it being all the correct parts even. Just saying. And the only other liberty of a couple of liberties, you know, mechanic's choice, I guess, is on the engines I build. I usually build one of these glass pack mufflers. You know, that's a pipe inside of a pipe with a bunch of holes in it. Should sound really good. It's about that long compared to the engine. You know, 1 1/4 exhaust pipe stuff. So that brings us to the point of we were going to do the cost. How much it costs to build one of these engines, and well, that been discussed the day earlier, but I was noticing on the internet, you can actually you can order yourself one of them. It's a castellated nut right here. Goes on this valve stem. You actually can buy one of them on the internet, and it costs us $4.85. This one castellated nut. If you ordered this, if you bought this engine and brought it home, if you bought it at auction sale and you brought it home and you was going to fix it back to original, so you would want all of these parts onto the engine, not as much homemade stuff. And it called for a castellated nut here to back up against that other one right there. Well, if you bought this little thing right here, cost you $4.85. So, keeping that in mind, and keeping up our You know the cost on building this engine? And I started with a $350 engine, I think it was, to start with. So it was an engine of that value. It was probably priced okay. But continuing the parts list, spark plug, that was $9. Oh, it needed one. A Gib key protector. That's them Gib key protectors right there, and I done already put 2 of them on this engine because I wasn't gonna run no pulley. So I got 2 of them things. I valued them at $36. If you buy them on the internet, they're $45, I think. But anyway, these 2 were $72. Make a note of that. Spark plug wire, 24 inches. That's $10.50. Got that on order. Them decals was $15 for 2 pieces there. The correct one for McCormick-Deering. Well, that muffler over there, I only charged $30 for that muffler. I had already figured I'll check it, exhaust pipe stuff. Yeah. Well, I'll have to check that. That's added cost, you know. So, but anyways, I have to have one, and I only charge $30 for that. Make a note of that. Grease cups, a set of 4. That's crankshaft, bearings, and cam and all. $110. It's a grade set for this engine. Fuel pump plunger, brass. No, it wasn't. No, mark that off. I did not use that. I elected to use the one that came with the engine. I believe it was. Brass fittings, all of them copper brass fittings and them copper lines and all that right there. Copper tubings, 1/4 and 3/8, elbows and all that was $58. We already made a note of that earlier. So I think there'll be a couple more parts on it. Maybe that end cover for the Bosch mag and a baler thing. So we'll add that to it. But you know, I done already went on ahead and kept my hours on this engine right here. You know how many hours have I actually worked on this engine? To the point that I wrote down when I started and I wrote down when I stopped, and I only worked on the engine, and it's up to this point right here. Okay, the hours that I have on this engine right here, how many you think it is? Just saying. If you add all the hours up, it come to 72 hours. I worked on this engine 72 hours. That's chasing every thread, you know, water brushing, cleaning the rust to completely gone, you know. That's rust over your primer. That's down to bare metal, every part on the engine. You know what I mean? The cylinder liner, you know, it's as good as it is. You know what I mean? It's not one to brag about, but it's what I had to work with. So it's what I used. Head should be good on it, you know, new valves and all that stuff. So, you know, that oil, I'll polish that up and put some oil in it. You know, what are you going to do now, mechanic? Could be asked. came up on that's one of them Bosch, I'll show it to you. That's a bosch-magneto-gear for 1.5 horsepower. You know, that looks like a replacement. I don't know nothing about this engine in the past, but what I'm telling to you is this is unmarked gear. It's any amount of light you put on it, there's no marks on it, no way. So what are you going to do now, mechanic? Got to time that thing to that engine right there. Just say it. Leave a comment.